Today, I'm going to show you how you can become the most valuable member in your community. And I promise that you will get noticed without having any audience by using this commenting system that we're going to walk through, and you'll get results within 7 days. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how this looks like as a quest, because ultimately we actually need to do something to learn it. Because if we're not changing our behavior, then we haven't learned anything. And my goal is that you are actually changing your behavior so you can become the most valuable member in any Skool community. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've done it before. I'm currently on number 2 on the all-time leaderboard within Synthesizer, and I've been on top multiple times in the 30-day and the 7-day, and I've done the same thing in Goosify, in Skool Speedrunners, as well as in the free Skool course with Max Pearson, Ryan Duncan, and Goose Dunlaway. And today we're specifically focusing on how you can find the right Skool community, on finding the right posts within that community, and then how you can write the comments that actually get you noticed. So let's start by finding the right Skool community. And for me, I think of it a little bit like choosing a planet, because a community is a little bit like its world in itself. And in here, we have planets that are better for us and planets that are not as good, like Tatooine. So, not sure if you want to have Tatooine as a community. I think there are a few things wrong with that, but you do you. Maybe for you, Tatooine is S tier and God level. So, what I want to focus on, because like it needs to be the right community for you, is like, is your niche in there? So, are they sharing your passion? Is it the right position? And are they facing the problem? So, this is something that I covered in the previous video when we really specifically look at the niche and the breaking down the passion into health, wealth, and relationships, going 3 layers deep in the position on are people ahead or behind us, as well as the problem. Are they problem aware? Are they ready to commit? Or are they just lacking results? And if we understand this, then we can like choose the community, because the objective is ultimately to find the right people and build our brand while also gathering ideas. Because in these communities, it's really about connecting with the people and establishing ourselves as we are the guy for this. For example, I established myself as the networking wizard because I love networking and I love talking with everyone and start connecting people with one another. That's my unique thing, but ultimately you can find your own and brand yourself around this. And by spending time with the right people, then you'll also come up with new ideas. And that's the whole objective of finding the right communities. And here are a few best practices that I found that really helped. So first of all, to find the community, you can just go through Skool Discovery or search for the right keywords and then start exploring. And the key here is that you find communities where there's real engagement from the members, not just the admin. So a community is kind of that. If you only see the owner or the admin's post, you want other people to also post and to comment. So this is like what a real alive community looks like. And then after that, when you found a community, it's like, oh, this may be the right planet for me. Then sending the admin and the owner a genuine compliment on what they've built, because you've selected this community to be active in. So might as well let the owner and the admins know. Maybe they are even the target that you want to ultimately approach, because when you are positioning yourself for helping people who are ahead of you and delivering a kind of service, then being in their community and starting this conversation as early as possible is really going to be key and is what lets you stand out compared to other people. So once we found our community, which I still think of as a planet, it's all about finding the right posts within that community. And that's a little bit like fishing here. So you found your pond and now it's like, okay, like what kind of like ocean am I fishing in? So I think there are 3 specific aspects that we can leverage to find the best posts that we can comment to have the highest leverage. So the first one is on the leaderboard. And here we have the leaderboard from Synthesizer again. And something that we can generally do is go through these people, see who is active. So the flame is kind of a great aspect here. If someone has a star, it's like great value and you would want to connect with these people and understand what's their vibe. Because if you can connect with those 30 people, it's probably less because people are often multiple times on like the 7 day and the 30 day, and then maybe even the all time. But generally, I like to go through the all time, look for the active people, look at what kind of posts they recently made, and then we can comment on those. Because this way, we start creating relationships with the people who are on the all time leaderboard, which are effective leaders in that community. And then we can go to the 30 day and the 7 day. It all depends on like how much time we have. But generally, I want to start with the owner, highest leverage, then go to the admins, second highest leverage, and then look for the leaders. So the leaderboard is perfect for that. That's one way to find the right posts. So if we want to be a little bit more curated and in the community, then I love using the filter system. So in here, we can filter default, but we can also filter after new posts, top posts, or unread posts. And when I'm new in a community, I go through the all-time top post first, and this gives me a vibe of the community and it's like, oh, okay, so this is happening. This is what like is performing in this community. This is what the owner has been engaging with. And like if we start commenting on all of these things and bump these things up again, it's generally really appreciated by the owner, and other people will also see it's like, oh, this is a thoughtful, genuine comment on one of the most engaged posts. After that, and we usually only do this once when we're new in the community, then if it's more of a regular check-in with the community, filtering for the top week, especially if it's a big community, this really helps us allow the community to filter the best posts for us already, and then we can engage on those which already have a ton of engagement. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can even comment underneath other people's comment on these highly engaged posts, because usually there is a reason why have so much engagement already. And then if we've done all of that, the next aspect is we can go to the unreads. And when I go really heavy in a community, then I want to read every community post and evaluate, is that a post that I want to comment on? Is that a post where I can provide value? And there are general classifications on that, because we shouldn't comment on every post. So for example, if it's a bot post, actually report that. That's going to give you even more goodwill with the owner. If there is like any form of drama, then I also like to not touch that, because it's it's very difficult and it takes a lot of time, and usually it's not the highest leverage. And then AI slop, I would just like, if you, it's like this is clearly written by AI, and I would generally ignore that and even report this to the admins as well and say, hey, this is like low engagement or low quality or something along the lines of that. Because ultimately, one of the reasons why Skool is so fun is because it's a human to human connection. And that's why when we are fishing for the right posts, I generally like to think about like, where can I actually connect with a person in that sense. So now we have found the right community, found the right posts. How do we actually write comments? And this is the key aspect here. And I think the core mindset is we want to help. It's kind of like how Leia is asking Obi-Wan for help. That's what we can think of every post. And it's like, hey, help, I need more engagement. I want this answered. I want for people to see me. And by commenting underneath these posts, we can help people out in that way. So to go even deeper in the mindset is, how can we be of service? How can we continue the conversation? Because all of these aspects are extremely valuable to both the owner of the community as well as the owner of the post. Sometimes it's actually both at the same time. So we want to make sure that people are not needing help anymore, and we've provided the value that we can. Then we actually get to the commenting. I love the AAA framework. We acknowledge the post by praising it, for example, by saying, hey, I love this specific part. So I like to be really specific, because otherwise it feels a little bit shallow if you say it's like, oh, good post. Say what is good about it, and it encourages much more engagement, then adding some value, an insight that came to you while you were reading this, maybe an example of something similar that happened to you, a story that you can tell, and then finishing up with a question, because then we are continuing the conversation. So coming back to the mindset, it's like, how can we keep up the conversation and start having a conversation in the comments? Because this will then help us build the relationship later on when we go in the convert part on how can we actually talk to the people. And by having these questions and continuing the conversations, it doesn't feel like people are strangers anymore. And we've already warmed them up to a point where they are very likely to agree to hop on a call with us because we left genuine value on their posts, on their comments. And here is another key aspect is we want to stand out. And the way we can do this is, for example, using Whisper Flow, which allows us to comment a lot more and lots more detail. But here I'd be careful because otherwise it looks like this huge chunk of text. When we just do a little bit of formatting and using different paragraphs, and I like to use this ladder system. So maybe you see this here. I'm going like um, either a ladder that is ascending or a ladder that is descending, and it just looks more visually appealing. So, kind of standing out in this way and having the volume and the quality by just speaking, which is much faster than writing for most of us. Adding a specific video really lets you stand out if there's something relevant. Maybe you even record yourself, or maybe even do a loom. Something that Skool recently added is a native video function, so you can just like record yourself and then upload it. Or you can just add specific GIFs to it, which also improve the value of your comment and add another layer to that. And something that I like to do is use Star Wars GIFs, because in my community, it's all Star Wars themed. So I want to brand myself as, oh, this guy is like always thinking about Star Wars, which um it's not absolutely untrue, but it just allows us to be recognized and allow people to, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is like Luke posting, or someone else potentially using Lord of the Rings memes, or like a bunch of Pokemon memes. Like all of these things allow you to build up this brand, which we mentioned one of the key objectives ultimately. So now we know how to write comments, we know how to find the right posts within the right communities, and now it's to the actual execution, because we want to make sure that we actually get the results. So what I want you to do is to choose one Skool community where you reach the top of the leaderboard by being the most valuable member. And for everyone who is part of the Jedi Academy, we can actually track our progress in here by going into the training for the marketing nights, where we attract our niche, and then we have the commenting on the leaderboard, and you can check this. And now we actually get points for completing this. We see the progress on having actually worked on these larger quests. And this is ultimately one of the best ways to get the results, because we understand that we have done this. And next week, for example, we're going to talk specifically about posting and how you can get your post pinned. So until then, enjoy the journey and have fun.